The Galactic Council had watched Earth for 300 years. They observed the small blue planet spinning in the outer arm of the galaxy. They saw the primitive creatures crawling across its surface. They laughed at the humans who dreamed of reaching the stars. And then they made the decision that would change everything. Commander Vrix stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the holographic display of Earth's solar system. His gray skin stretched tight across his skull as he smiled. The Netheran Empire had conquered 4,000 worlds. They had crushed civilizations that were ancient when humans still lived in caves. This backwater system would be no different. Begin the cleansing, Vrix ordered. His fleet of 1,200 warships spread across the solar system. They destroyed the human colonies on Mars. They shattered the mining stations in the asteroid belt. They burned the research facilities on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The humans fought back with their primitive weapons. Their missiles and lasers were like insects against the Netheran shields. The battle lasted exactly 17 hours. When it was over, the Netheran fleet gathered above Earth. Vrix broadcast his message to the surviving humans below. He told them they had two choices. They could submit to eternal slavery, or they could die. He gave them one standard rotation to decide, but Vrix made a mistake, a terrible, fatal mistake. He did not destroy the debris. Across the solar system, the wreckage of the Netheran attack floated in space. Broken ships, shattered stations, scattered technology. Millions of tons of alien metal and circuits and weapons drifted through the void. The Netherans saw it as garbage. They saw no point in cleaning up after a defeated enemy. The humans saw something else entirely. Dr. Sarah Chun stood in the emergency bunker deep beneath the Swiss Alps. Around her, the best scientists and engineers on Earth worked frantically. They had less than 20 hours. The holographic screens showed images from thousands of salvaged drones racing through space. Every drone was collecting debris. Every piece of Netheran wreckage was being brought back to Earth. Sarah looked at the alien circuits spread across her table. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, from excitement. She had spent her entire life studying theoretical physics. She had dreamed of understanding how faster-than-light travel worked. Now she held the answer in her hands. "I need more time," she whispered. General Marcus Stone stood beside her. His uniform was torn and bloody from the fighting. Half his command was dead. But his eyes were calm and steady. "You have 18 hours," he said. "Make them count." Across the planet, similar scenes played out. Engineers tore apart Netheran power cores and rebuilt them with human modifications. Weapons experts studied alien plasma cannons and found ways to make them stronger. Medical teams analyzed Netheran biology and discovered their weaknesses. Programmers cracked the enemy's computer codes and turned them into tools. The humans worked without sleep. They worked without hope of survival. They worked because giving up was not in their nature. For 300 years, the galaxy had watched them and laughed. But nobody was laughing now. In orbit, Commander Vrix waited impatiently. He had conquered dozens of species. Some had fought. Some had surrendered. But none had ever surprised him. He saw no reason why these humans would be any different. 17 hours and 43 minutes after his ultimatum, he received Earth's response. It was not a surrender. The first wave came from the dark side of the moon. 300 ships rose from hidden hangars carved into the lunar rock. They were ugly things. They were built from crashed Netheran fighters and human spacecraft welded together. Their weapons were salvaged plasma cannons mounted on improvised frames. Their shields were powered by stolen alien reactors running at dangerous levels. They should not have worked. Every principle of Netheran engineering said they should not have worked. But humans had never cared much about what should and should not be possible. Vrix watched in disbelief as the hybrid ships tore through his outer patrol line. His advanced fighters were being destroyed by machines built from their own wreckage. His crew screamed for help as weapons they had created were turned against them. "Impossible," he whispered. This is impossible, but it was only the beginning. The second wave launched from Earth itself. These ships were different. They were sleeker, faster. The humans had not just copied Netheran technology, they had improved it. Reactors that should have exploded ran stable and strong. Weapons that should have overheated fired continuously. Shields that should have failed held against everything. Sarah Chun sat at the helm of the lead ship. Her fingers danced across controls that had not existed 20 hours ago. She had figured out the mathematics of Netheran propulsion. She had found the flaw in their design. And she had fixed it. All ships, she broadcast. Attack pattern Delta. Show them what humanity can do. The battle raged for 6 hours. The Netheran fleet had numbers. They had experience. They had technology refined over millennia of conquest. But the humans had something else. They had desperation. They had fury. And they had an ability that no other species in the galaxy possessed. They could adapt. Every time the Netherans changed tactics, the humans changed faster. Every time an alien weapon found a weakness, human engineers sealed it within minutes. Every time a Netheran ship was destroyed, salvage teams raced to collect the debris and use it against the enemy. By the 4th hour, the Netheran fleet was in retreat. By the 5th hour, they were running for their lives. By the 6th hour, Commander Vrix stood alone on his damaged flagship, surrounded by the wreckage of his once mighty armada. General Stone's voice came through the communication system. It was calm, almost friendly. "You gave us a choice," Stone said. "Now we're giving you one. Leave this system. Tell your empire what happened here. Tell them that Earth is not a world to be conquered. Tell them that if they come back, we will be ready. We will always be ready." Vrix looked at the tactical display. His fleet of 1,200 ships had been reduced to 37. The humans had built an entire navy from garbage in less than a day. What would they build in a week? A month? A year? He gave the order to retreat. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Netheran Empire, undefeated for 10,000 years, had been driven back by primitives. The Galactic Council demanded explanations. Scientists studied the battle recordings and could not explain what they saw. Philosophers debated the meaning of a species that could turn defeat into victory overnight. And in the darkness of space, humanity began to build. The debris fields became their greatest resource. Every battle the Netherans had ever fought left wreckage scattered across star systems. Every war they had won left technology floating abandoned in the void. For thousands of years, the galaxy had simply ignored this debris. To them, it was trash, refuse, the remains of the conquered. To humans, it was treasure. Salvage fleets spread out from Earth. They collected Netheran debris. They collected debris from the species the Netherans had conquered. They found technology from civilizations that had died before humans existed. Each piece was studied. Each fragment was understood. Each discovery was combined with human innovation to create something new. Sarah Chun led the research teams. Under her guidance, human scientists made breakthroughs that should have taken centuries. They mastered faster than light travel in 3 months. They developed weapons that made Netheran plasma cannons look like toys. They created shields that could withstand anything the galaxy could throw at them. And still they kept improving. 10 years after the Battle of Earth, humanity controlled a fleet of 50,000 ships. Each one was built from salvage technology combined with human genius. Each one was crewed by men and women who had grown up knowing that the galaxy wanted them dead. Each one was ready to fight. The Netheran Empire sent another fleet. This time they sent 10,000 ships. They brought their most advanced weapons. They brought their most experienced commanders. They were certain they would succeed. They were wrong. The second battle lasted 2 hours. The human fleet did not just defeat the Netherans. They annihilated them. Not a single alien ship survived. And once again, human salvage teams collected the debris. Word spread further. The Galactic Council grew afraid. They had spent millions of years believing that elder races ruled and younger races served. They had built their entire civilization on this principle. Now a species less than 1,000,000 years old was challenging everything they believed. They sent an ambassador to Earth. His name was Counselor Thren, and he was one of the oldest beings in the galaxy. He had watched stars be born and die. He had seen empires rise and fall. He believed he understood everything. He understood nothing. General Stone met him in the rebuilt city of Geneva. The human was old now. His hair was white and his face was lined with age. But his eyes still held the same fire they had held during the first battle. "You should not exist," Thren said. "No species evolves this quickly. No civilization advances this fast. It defies every law of galactic development." Stone smiled. He led the ambassador to a window overlooking the city. Below them, humans went about their daily lives. Children played in parks. Workers built new structures. Scientists debated in universities. It looked peaceful, normal, almost boring. "You want to know our secret?" Stone asked. "It's simple. You left us no choice." He pointed up at the sky, at the stars that had once seemed so far away. Every species in this galaxy reached the stars slowly. You had time. You had safety. You could afford to take thousands of years to develop your technology, but we had 17 hours. We had to learn or die. And when we survived, we kept that lesson. We kept that hunger. Every day, every human wakes up knowing that the universe is dangerous, that we have to be better, that we have to be stronger, that we have to be ready. Thren stared at the human for a long moment. He was beginning to understand, and it terrified him. "The debris fields," he said slowly. "Every civilization in this galaxy leaves them behind. We never thought to use them. We saw them as waste, and we saw them as opportunity," Stone replied. "Every battle you fought gave us more material to work with. Every war you won gave us more technology to study. Every species you conquered left behind secrets that we discovered. You spent millions of years making the galaxy a graveyard, and we turned that graveyard into a garden." The ambassador returned to the Galactic Council with his report. He told them that humanity could not be stopped. He told them that every attack would only make the humans stronger. He told them that the debris fields they had left scattered across the galaxy had created a monster they could not kill. The council listened, and for the first time in their ancient history, they were afraid. 50 years after the first battle, humanity stood as an equal among the great powers of the galaxy. 100 years later, they surpassed them all. They brought peace to systems that had known only war. They shared their discoveries with species that had once looked down on them. They turned the debris of 1,000 conflicts into the foundation of a new era. And in the center of it all, a simple truth remained. The galaxy had tried to destroy humanity. They had attacked with overwhelming force. They had left behind the wreckage of their arrogance. And from that wreckage, humanity had built something unstoppable. The debris fields they left behind had made humans strong. Their cruelty had forged humanity into something greater. Their contempt had become their downfall. Now the stars belonged to everyone, and the species that had once been laughed at as primitive stood as guardians of a new age, not through conquest, not through fear, but through the simple, stubborn refusal to ever give up. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. That was the lesson written in the debris fields of 1,000 worlds. That was the truth that would echo through the ages. Never underestimate the species that builds its future from the ruins of its past.